So we need a company name. Instead of Samsung, Sam's Tongue. Blaze Cannon from China. Well, that seems like a pretty odd name from a guy from China. And we need to hire our employees. How about Elizabeth Ryan from Great Britain? I love Great Britain. Ah, they look just like their pictures. And I guess the first thing we need to do is make a smartphone. The Tongue phone. They're super thick. And I just want to put these buttons in just very bad positions, and I feel like the Tongue phone, it really just needs to represent, well, a tongue. We're gonna go for this nice, like, salmon-y color. Ah, isn't it beautiful? It's a Tongue phone. So it's only $10 more to get an IPS screen instead of a TFT, and look how much better the image quality is. People don't want that though. And the camera's just in a spot where it's like the worst ever to try to take a picture. They really miss a good opportunity to make that incel. Let's face it, that's way better than Infel or Intel. Imagine paying $1,125 for this thing. For some reason, I think people actually will. Although we do have quite a number of bugs, but let's face it, that's never stopped any company, especially a tech or phone company, from releasing a product before. We just lost 31 fans when we started getting rid of all the bugs. I think I'll risk 40% of our budget on this. $19.4 million on the Tongue phone. Oh yeah, look at them all rolling in. It turns out people will buy just about anything you sell, even if it's a piece of crap. We've already sold 15,000 copies, but we're losing all of our fans in the process. It's really making me start to think about our next project. I just add a fingerprint sensor right at the very bottom of the phone, and putting the camera just right above the fingerprint sensor for no reason other than to just hurt these people. Although we have one seat open, and I'm starting to wonder if we should hire another person. Yo, this guy from Guinea wants $17,350 a month. You're hired. But where'd he go? All I see are a bunch of white guys sitting around this desk. Oh yeah, a 7 out of 10. Look at all that coming in. What did we say? We had 98,000 copies or something? There's no way we're not going to sell all of those. Okay, we only sold 44,000 out of the 98,000 that we had. Because we can always make a new smartphone. The Throat phone. I'm actually kind of scared to make too many of the Throat phone after what happened last time. Screw it, we're risking 50% of the company on this one. The rear camera is too low. I closed my hand when taking a picture. I put it up really high this time. I actually made a phone where it was up high and not low. You know what? Those idiots don't know what they're talking about, because we broke 1,000 fans and look at all of that money coming into our bank account. So now I'm making the Sinus phone to try to compete with all of our Throat phones. And we're just gonna make it this nice snot green color. Yeah, that's exactly where I placed the camera on the last phone. And look how that guy was complaining that it was way too low and his fingers were covering it. So I just looked at our information. How are we paying $250,000 a month for this office? I guess we're like on the moon or something. With all our new research points in hand and all the research that we just did, we're making the iPhone. This looks sort of eye-like, doesn't it? White with like a big black pupil. Our first phone in full HD. I love how we're coming into the year 2005 and we finally have a micro SD slot. So it basically is the year 2005 all over again. Okay, so as I look at some of our employees, I think some people, especially Great Britain Elizabeth, are holding us back. And I love how Blaze Cannon from China has just been sitting here this whole time like, please. We did get some complaints on the iPhone that we didn't have enough design capabilities. And look at Priscilla's design score. I mean, come on. And with Priscilla on the team, we're going for a lip phone. Eat your heart out, Kylie Jenner. Have you ever seen a chunkier phone in your life? I didn't think so. For the lip phone, we're just gonna put it on a Windows OS because it's just like, who even cares anymore? Look how rich the lip phone just made us. We sold 45,330 copies of it and made $60 million. I love how we're still 6 short of Touch ID, yet we have a fingerprint sensor on the back. I guess that's just for decoration at this point. We are up to 112 million, and it's got me thinking, this little office is what's truly holding us back right now. I love our 4 employees as much as the next guy, but I think that we need something a little bit bigger with slightly more people. Do you really want to update the office? The new office will cost you $1 million. Yes. And look at that. Look how many more employees we can have. And we have 198 research points, and I really desperately want to get Touch ID. I figure I can't keep putting on these fingerprint sensors if I don't even have Touch ID. And with 8 employees under us now, we're going hard on this one, guys. The earphone. People really seem to respond well off camera to these big chunky changes. So that's exactly what I'm giving them. Look how big and beautiful this thing is. And nothing makes me happier than a nice flesh-colored phone. Look at the massive amounts of points that we're getting already. 20% into development and we've already got those type of numbers. And $110 million to play with. Upgrading this office was the best idea I've made in this episode so far. Okay, we basically lost like $7 million on that deal. And you know what that means? Upgrading the office again and just hiring tons of people. And I'm finally gonna give a chance to Blaze Cannon. There's no way this isn't going to be a smash hit with all the fans. Another 6 out of 10. So we never seem to sell out of any of our phones, so we have the leg phone. And since people seem to be complaining about the price of these things, I'm gonna go for that Walmart approach again and only make $194 off of each one. And I am so confident in the leg phone, I'm putting everything into it. Yeah, those sold copies number, that's not really going up all that fast to get to 33,000. I'm starting to think that I just played myself. Yeah, didn't quite do it there. We only sold 30,000 copies out of the, we have over 100,000 just sitting in a warehouse somewhere.
All of this is fine and good, but I think it's time to bring out the big guns. The Beast phone. If you're going to make a Beast phone, then the first thing you need to do is just change the color to the classic blue. Who even cares about the stats if the thing looks horrible? And MrBeast gets a rarity in this game, and that is full HD screen. And I say that we just give his phone the best stats that it can possibly have, no matter the cost, because this is a guy who wouldn't skimp on anything quality wise. And why wouldn't MrBeast have the bad A operating system when he himself is the biggest bad A on all of YouTube? I mean, come on, it just makes sense. Every time I update all of these stats to the highest thing, the price in the bottom left corner just goes way up. It's gonna be mighty hard to give this away for free when it costs us so much to make. And screw it, let's just put the entire budget of our tiny little company into this phone. Do you want to hold the presentation of the smartphone Beast phone? It could boost the sales. The presentation will cost you $1 million. Yeah. That's like the kind of money MrBeast gives out in his videos when he's bored. All we need is MrBeast on stage in a turtleneck right now, and this would be perfect. And just because I want to risk it all on something that completely sucks, the pimple phone. I am not giving any options to this whatsoever. This is going to be the bog standard stock phone that you can possibly make. And I'm gonna charge $1,145 for it. Watch this end up being the one phone that does the best out of all of them. People are like, yes, finally a company that listens to me. All I've ever wanted is a phone that does nothing. And I pay a ton of money for it too. And once again, we're putting everything into the pimple phone. And it got a 5 out of 10. I don't think that there is any rhyme or reason to these ratings, because we give them every feature in the world and they give us a 5 out of 10. We give them literally nothing and we get a 5 out of 10. But there are still some idiots out there who will buy it regardless. And as we sit here selling a pimple phone and losing over $100 million in our entire fortune and company, I'm going to end this video there.